Well, I'm sitting in my backyard. I'm actually working on some stuff. I'm reading the papers and I'm working on some stuff for the blog and other political sort of stuff. I wear this hat because I have to protect my head because I've had cancer, skin cancer stuff. But I'm sitting out here with this bloody beautiful weather, and I'm fortunate enough to be retired with an income. And I just had an injured bird come by, then a hummingbird goes over there, and I just sitting looking at the this. It's a it's a beautiful smelling plant. It's I just think jasmine. Just looking at it and watching bees, and there was a carpenter bee. It's a huge brown bee, a California carpenter bee. Just watching them fertilizing it and thinking about how beautiful nature is, and how we will our children and our grandchildren especially will not be able to experience it if we do not intervene in the world, if we do not transform and change the way society is organized. It doesn't just go away. And the problem is, if you take like here in the US, where the media is so powerful and history is so hidden, of the working class is so hidden. Like I say, I came here and I was told I was middle class. I was sort of quite insulted about that, but um, here in the US, it's sort of hidden, and there's a great, powerful media here. We're in the belly of the beast, and but if we don't, we cannot ignore what's going on in the world. We're part of the world, and this movement, these developments, this insurrectionary movement that has risen around the police brutality and forced upon us by the black America, that can no longer, it hasn't been able to for a long time, but will no longer tolerate the conditions under which they live in this country, and not just the blatant killing and murder of their children and their people, and particularly males, but just the conditions, the discrimination and so forth, the representation on TV and all of that. Every statistic, every indices explain the conditions. And of course, the media always will try to make it out to be a race issue, and will try to divide us along racial lines. That I've recognised as an English immigrant that it's the basic idea as well. The blacks have some problems, but everything's okay for the rest of us. Everything's all right if you work hard and so forth. And of course, it's not. There's probably the largest poor population is white people. Probably the largest imprisoned population is white people. The problem is it's a percentage issue. There's more of us among the people of colour, among native people, and so forth. It's a horrific situation, and what we are witnessing is a global response. We've seen it. It's been arising before now. We had all those demonstrations in Chile, in Lebanon, in North Africa, in Ecuador, and so forth. And the struggles here, the native people up in Standing Rock, we have seen some major struggles, but this is unprecedented. And we're seeing it in a global way, and we have to recognize that they will do everything they can to undermine it. They will divide us. They will try to divide us along all sorts of ways. They will not stop. In Northern Ireland, my friends told me up there, when the civil rights movement began and the Catholics and Protestants began to march together and walk together, drugs appeared and all sorts of things like that. Our enemy is very ruthless and violent, and the uprisings at the moment are, we've seen there's some cops taking a knee and everything else. We have to be very suspicious of things like that. We can welcome it, but we have to be very suspicious of things like that. But there are signs that there are divisions. Obviously the American ruling class is divided. Even among the evangelicals, there's a division taking place and splits taking place. It's what we always say: when the working class moves into struggle, the opposition we begin to fragment, and the working class is moving into struggle. It's not the organised working class at this point. It's the millions of young people and poor people and black people and working class white people who want some changes. And as I've put on the blog, the industrial working class class, although the vast majority of the industrial working class is now in Asia and places like that, the organized labor, the rank and file of organized labor, has to come into this struggle and come in on the right side, and I believe it will. It has to overcome the obstacle of its own leadership, the pro-capitalist, pro-market leadership that whenever capitalism goes into crisis, it tries to bail it out. They have to remove that leadership, and they have to enter the stage of history in a major way. They will, but it's better off if the sooner the better and organized, and link up with this movement, because the enemy is very resourceful. And so I was sat here actually just watching that bee, thinking about how beautiful nature is and how we are obligated, if we have children and if we have grandchildren especially, I'm old, but if we have grandchildren especially, to fight for them and to not accept this for them. There's a new day. There's a new day in politics. The two capitalist parties in America are in crisis, and the working class is stamping its mark on society at the moment in the United States and around the world in the support for the Black America and the movement here in the United States. And so I'm just basically saying what's on my mind at the moment. It's very important, it's very positive, and we should welcome it. Those that just want to who have never said a damn word about the crisis in the black community with the murdering of their people and is whining about looting and everything else, of course that's not the way forward. Most people are not looters. It's not the way forward. There are criminal gangs, there are people that have been declassed, disenfranchised from society. An organised working class movement of youth and workers will be able to appeal to those elements and block them off if they don't respond to those appeals, but appeal to them to join in a class struggle war and not an unorganised war of desperation and so forth. So it's a good time to be alive. And I just wanted to make those few comments sitting out here in a beautiful garden. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye. Read our blog, Facts for Working People.